What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the library. Let's jump right into it. So before I get to the meat of the episode, we need to take a very important history lesson. 25 years ago, the clickbait of the internet was programmers' cheats. I know that sounds crazy, but bear with me. 25 years ago, when websites were just being formed and the internet was finding its footing, companies like IGN, GameSpot, they would have employees and they would have, offices and they would have servers for the website. But they didn't have physical products to sell to make the money to pay for that. In the old days, the dream of websites was that they would get all their financial investments from ad revenue. And you got ad revenue from ad impressions, meaning as I come to your site, I can see the ad, and then ad click-throughs, meaning I actually click on the product ad to see what it is, and potential sales. And the way companies figured out to keep bringing people back to their websites on a daily basis, besides the news and reviews, was to have programmers' cheats, because everyone likes to get that one step better than the rival. It got so crazy that programmers' cheats were not only being featured on the front of their site as actual content creation, but websites like IGN were actually buying out fan sites like Secret of the Game Sages and incorporated that into their own website and became one entity. And as time went on, a lot of things started to happen that would screw things up. In order to keep that interaction going with the websites, they would have what was called user interaction. And what that meant is that a normal viewer, like say myself, if I found a cheat code somewhere that wasn't on their website, I could go to a submission form, enter my cheat that I found, put my username, and they would post it to the website with my name, essentially creating the first ever like or social heart post because you were getting your 5 minutes of fame for contributing to the site. Add on to that a whole lot of people trying to get their fame and fortune, and you had a lot of people copying and pasting from other sites to their sites to other sites, going through strategy guides, trying to type things in and get it posted. You then compound that with websites redesigning themselves, be it new databases, new visual structures and themes, and a lot of bad things could happen and did happen. And the first example I want to show is Army Men Air Attack. Now, fantastic game. It uses a password system to continue your progression, and we're going to focus on the level 7 password here in this visual. This is an image made up of various websites, a couple Brady game guides, and a couple Prima game guides. And as you can see, all things are good for the ones I've highlighted. You've got your 7 characters to input into the password screen. There's just one problem. Level passwords in Army Men Air Attack are 8 digits long. This is only 7. And after doing a whole lot of digging, I can show you what happened with patient 0. In this Brady guide, they actually have the correct 8-digit password. When it came over to their publication the following year, something happened in the editing software that instead of displaying the triangle, the code that recreates the triangle shape made it into the code. As this code was being copied by a whole bunch of people across a whole bunch of different formats, no one realized it was supposed to be the triangle. So they just deleted it thinking it gibberish or a typo. No one checked. No one tried. This would go on ad nauseum until the birth of misinformation through social media was invented and everyone had the wrong code. But it doesn't stop there. If we broaden our visual, we can see not only is that code wrong, but the same code was listed for a different level, which is impossible, and no one checked it. Even funnier, in some publications, they flipped the error. Like it's just absolute pure chaos. Now, this gets even worse with the site redesigns and how the databases were affected. Here is a code for 3D baseball that tells you you can unlock a subgame. There's a huge problem. That code isn't for 3D baseball. That code is for air combat. And it's not a submarine game. You control the logo of the game to take down ships and missiles for like 4 seconds in between loading rounds. That's how bad this got. Now, I can even take it one step further. To show you how much no one cared and just wanted their 5 minutes of fame through the submission line, Army Men Sarge's Heroes for the PlayStation, across multiple sites, has a list of level passwords. There's just one problem. Sarge's Heroes on the PlayStation doesn't have a password system. It uses the memory card. The N64 version, however, does use the password system, which means a different system's codes are on the PlayStation page. And to make it worse, there's another duplicate code that does 2 different things it can't possibly do. And that is where I can proudly announce Project Up1. I am rebuilding the PlayStation's cheat database from scratch, line by line, code by code, password by password. Now, the namesake of this project actually comes from an old Nintendo Power issue. In that issue, Nestor is seen with a very poor English-speaking movie director who is directing the original Ninja Gaiden 1 movie. As a joke, it doesn't exist. However, in Nestor trying to explain where they have to find a hidden 1-up, the director keeps calling it an up one. And it's proven that Nestor is wrong when Howard, aka Howard Phillips, correctly identifies the location of the 1-up. And the comic ends with the director asking about how he knows all about these up ones. And there is no more perfect visual metaphor than what this project is all about. I am the Howard to 25 years worth of Nestors. Here's how it's going to work. Right now, in my offline database, I have well over 10,000 codes, passwords, unlocks, hints, and etc. The way that we're going to approach the correction and double checking, etc., is I'm first going to go after anything that's instant. So a programmer's cheat like the Konami code, a level password, or a secret password that I can check instantly. As I'm running through those and get those corrected on site, the eventual second wave will be the unlocks. So like going through a fighting game without continues to unlock this character. Things I can use a Game Shark for to properly, make sure it works within the realm. And then eventually it will lead to just general hints and tips. Hopefully, a couple years from now, probably, I can get back to actual guide writing and FAQ writing. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So the more important part here, too, is it's not just taking a code, confirming it, and then posting it. I want to properly explain it to you that wasn't done before. For example, one of the more popular codes for Tomorrow Never Dies is you can control this stupid little square in the corner that normally wouldn't mean anything. Most websites just give you the button command and say, hey, there you go have it. Here on GameRave, I actually show you what each of the controller buttons does so you can get the full enjoyment out of that code. Now, most importantly is that this project fundamentally changes how I approach playing and reviewing and seeking out trivia for the games. What's the word I'm looking for? One of the most important things for me about a video game is discovery. And over the years, as all these codes kept coming in and people like Brady Games and Prima Guides were printing these codes to print, they were obviously in limited space, so they would trim back the codes as much as possible to give you just the base information. Within that, they would also cut back on repetition. And one of the best examples I can give for that is NASCAR Rumble, which is an upcoming review. Most websites for NASCAR Rumble's cheat section only give you this password. It's a single password that unlocks everything in the game. That's fine, that's great. But it doesn't help someone like me who wants to find it for himself, even if I need a little help. That's why instead of this, on GameRave, in the process of doing this project, you'll get this. A complete rundown of every unlockable in the game, including the 9 cars that are hidden on the actual tracks by finding these cool golden wrenches. And at the bottom, play tips from yours truly to help you get around all the traps in the game. This is so important to me because this is a part of a game's history that just seems to be lost to the ages with save states and, what the kids call it those days, tool-assisted gameplays. Sometimes you just want to do it yourself, no matter what that takes. As I mentioned, I've got a database of about 10,000. That's just scratching the surface. There's at least 400 games that I know of in my database that have nothing. No codes, no passwords, no nothing. That I know a majority of them do. And then on top of that, I know that games I already have content for have more than that. But I have to go through and find all that missing information. And that includes going through PlayStation Undergrounds, various strategy guides, normal cheat code books, websites, using archive.org to mine old publishers' websites because they would post little hints and tips. Like, I found a whole bunch of cool stuff for, Clock Tower from ASCII that was essentially a quick start guide that was really cool. And then, obviously, we'll go on and on. Now, clearly this is going to take me a while. So I waited until now to have a proper foothold that you guys can at least begin to experience what's going on. Project Up1's actually been hiding in plain sight, as there are already over 65 games on site that have the new Secrets tab. So like Mortal Kombat 3, NASCAR Rumble, etc. And this is where you'll be able to find everything. I will have a full list of the games that are already with cheat codes on our Discord server under the site updates, and every time I add a new cheat or a new game for a new cheat to a game that didn't have one before, that's where you'll find the information that, hey, this page now has cheat codes or updated cheat codes. To give you guys an idea of just how hardcore I'm going with this as far as confirming things, that Mortal Kombat 3 screenshot I tweeted the other day, that was me sitting here for an hour and a half winning 100 rounds in multiplayer to confirm the fake Galaga game still exists in the PlayStation version that was in the arcade. Now, while that's an extreme, what's also cool is that in doing this process, I'm discovering little things that no one really mentions. For example, in Mortal Kombat 3, that win streak is determined on if the loser continues or not. So like if I have 10 wins in a row and someone can't get let's say within their arcade, if someone couldn't get their quarter out in time and the timer hits 0, my win streak is over. And when they put their quarter back in, it starts at 0. In doing that hour and a half of gameplay, I discovered while the loser's timer is counting down, if the winner presses the start button, it will reset their timer to 9, and you can do it 3 times. Basically buying the person enough time to get their token out. And I've added that to site. I love that. Or like in Toshinden, in doing the photo mode episode, I discovered that normally you would press select to generate your player 2 color if you're playing by yourself. Well, if both players are playing and one of them presses select, you can now each fight in the same costume, causing hilarious chaos. And that's what this is all about. It's about the exploration and the re-finding of all these amazing things that either did exist at one point and were forgotten about or were never found to begin with. I really, really look forward to like you guys enjoying this. Um, this is going to take me a while, and that's okay. I am down to the last 100 games to add to site. And once those are done, adding demos will be a normal rotation, which means Project Up1 will take the space of adding retail games. As the demos begin to wane down, that's where I can get back to projects Disco and Farm. Now, those two I can guarantee you won't hear about again for at least another year. But once I have them and I'm ready to present, they'll be pretty freaking cool. So, with that, guys, that's where we're at. Cheat codes and unlocks and gaming tips are coming to GameRave.com. I was not kidding when I said I wanted to make this more than just a checklist site. When it comes to preservation, there are organizations that are helping preserve the games we never got to play or the versions we never got to play. There are other organizations that are helping preserve the games we did play and enjoy. There are also products that are helping preserve the ways we can play the games. When it comes to me, I'm helping preserve all the ways you can keep rediscovering them. Take care, you guys. Wear your mask, get vaccinated. I'll see you next episode. Take care.